going to actually go ahead and monitor my microphone, so let me do that real quick. There we go. Okay. So I don't think the latency is going to bother me that much, but actually as I speak, it sounds like it's going to bother me. Let's see. Advanced audio properties. Sync offset. I don't need to do that. Test. Test. Maybe it's all in my head. No, it's not just all in my head. Speaking like I've got a speech impediment or something. Here we go, I'll turn it off. But test, test, test. Yeah. I think it's a good volume. I know that if everything looks good, somebody answered the poll. Let's see, participants. Yeah, YouTube's participants is always behind. If anybody knows of a better way to track, I guess I could use YouTube Studio, and that's got better analytics. Yeah, that's no problem. What kind of pinata are you gonna get? What shape? Charlie's getting a pinata for his daughter at the Mexican Dollar Tree called Fiesta Dollar, which I've got one down the street. If you've ever been to one. Okay, I see. Well, I mean, shouldn't it be up to the kid, kind of? What's the kid's interests? What's Christina's interests? I should have set up an agenda today, but this is going to be a real rough stream comparatively to the future streams, because I want to have an agenda for each stream so that they're not a bunch of wasted time. You know, I got to be efficient about this, because I want to get this game or a game done before the end of 2023, which is always a ambitious thing to say when in indie development, and I think I'm going to learn a lot of things go wrong. So I'm just taking a look at what my co-developer Chalfie has been doing. Yeah, this is a project that is based off of a prototype he made for a game jam. That I mean, that's true, but just themes, though? Themes aren't going to make you go broke. I mean, I guess if you have to go get Disney licensed pinatas or something like that, but I don't think you can go get the bootleg one, you know? I don't think the kid will know the difference. But it basically that was a fun prototype, so we decided to expand on this, and I think it's a good proving ground for you know, the development process for getting a game out. Even if it ends up being a failure by the end of 2023, you know, there's always a learning process. Even if I learned I don't want to be a game developer at all and want to quit, then, you know, that would be a positive development in my life. So these streams are going to be kind of a way for me to keep myself accountable for myself and work on this consistently. You know, we started this company a little while back now. There's been a lot of talk and not enough action, especially on my part. So I'm trying to bring what I can to the table and try and make this successful. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later, Charlie, when you get back. So I know that the prototype wasn't based on shaders, which is something I'm not too familiar with in Unity. I've got some grasp of a lot of the basics of Unity, but I'm trying to get to that level of mastery right now that would allow me to create a game efficiently. I can see that. I don't know if those are gizmos. Let's see, where's the gizmos? Yeah, those are gizmos. So it looks like he's generating the terrain using shaders, and the camera's kind of in like an isometric angle here, but not really. It's not 45 degrees to the plane, to the on the X and Z axis. So I'm guessing he's doing this like there's got to be a controller for the terrain. Yeah, so he's got a manager over here for the terrain, and he's got a game object here called grid 1 that is put in it. I'm not sure what that can be. I don't think it's the full grid. Like I said, it's a gizmo, so I don't think a game object would be there. It's got the camera controller, I'm assuming. That's a little odd for the camera controller to be in the terrain manager. I'll have to take a look at the code and understand why he's doing that. And then TBS, an acronym that I don't know what, or an initialism that I don't know what stands for. So I'll have to take a look at the code as well to figure out what TBS stands for. Terrain something something is what I'd imagine. Terrain something something, that's real the script, right? I mean, that's what I've got to go off of. Maybe it's the channel, you know, on television. Maybe they sponsored us. Grid manager. So grid manager sounds like it would be the same thing as terrain manager, but maybe this is for a build system. See, I think maybe if I manipulate this integer here, it'll probably change the distance between the grid. Yeah. So this is a scale increment essentially right here. I'll change that too in the code to be a little more descriptive. Grid placer. We got test material, test debug. I don't know why you would have a different. Out of curiosity, if I turn off grid manager, yeah, it turns off the gizmo, but grid placer doesn't. So I'm assuming these two are intrinsically linked, so I don't know why they wouldn't be on the same game object. But I'll take a look here in a little bit. Yeah, it's got its own script. This is test material, test debug, and if we go down here into the assets, tutorial world. So yeah, he followed some tutorial for this. So whatever way that the people did it in the tutorial is probably the way it's structured, but we can learn a lot from it either way. Packages, assets, maybe under assets. Yeah, here we go. This is kind of annoying because it's a. Okay, so since this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get started outside of the this directory on this. I'm copy over the same scripts essentially one by one to learn them and change a couple of things about them to make them make a little more sense. But yeah, this kind of nested assets, like a project folder within a project. That's. So yeah, we've even got. I mean, packages is its own directory down here too, but it's just got a manifest. But if we come in here, materials, no, well, the skybox is part of the tutorial. Okay, so interesting. I thought that maybe you'd just drawn that real quick, but so that's not. That's a placeholder as well, obviously. Unless he added these in himself. There's a boat and a bridge. Oh, so this is a much longer tutorial. So if I go look up the tutorial and put that up on your screen here, tutorial world bending Unity. Here's another video, my asset review series. Make awesome curved worlds. Oh, this. Here we go. This is the one because he's using shader graph. That's what I thought. So I know y'all have no context of what the hell I'm talking about, but let me go ahead and mute the music real quick, and we'll add another scene capture here. So we got display capture. We'll do window capture, and we'll do Opera window capture. Sorry, I'm naming everything in OBS. Since this is the start of the stream, I have to get all that set up as we go. But so the first couple will be a little bit rocky in that sense. And honestly, if I'm being honest with myself, I think it'll be rocky longer than that, just because I have a tendency to do things last minute right before I turn a stream on, and then regret it instantly, because you never do something last minute before going into production. If you're a developer, you know that. You have to go through a testing to get something done. That's really how I should treat streams, but here we are. Okay, so we got Opera, Animal Crossing, automatic capture. Okay. So we got the Opera capture. Let me transform. Fit to screen. Boom. And we can adjust this. Have it right here above me. It's not too bad, right? I could also boom alt. All right. Right there. There will be scenes where there's a whole lot of game objects that we need to take a look at, and that might get in the way, but we can always turn it off or move it around if we want, or if it's too frustrating, you can get rid of it completely. Let me pull the chat back up because I just pulled that away. So okay, there we go. So let's take a look at this video.
The world bending effect brings in the horizon and the
so you guys don't have audio. Let me go ahead and add an audio source in as well.
At the same time. This is done by what Nintendo calls the rolling effect.
Oh no, I do have
in which the terrain seems
Opera,
to bend and roll beneath the players while they wander around. The effect has an interesting origin. The producer of Animal Crossing Wild World, Katsuya Eguchi, previously told IGN, for the Nintendo DS, it made more sense to use this effect in order to show the sky in the upper screen, in opposed to a scrolling camera. Well, we talked about the scene. The effect requires meshes with a sufficient amount of polygon count. If your mesh poly count is too low, it will harm the desired look. If you need more inspiration for your scenes, Animal Crossing is not the only game using this.
You need a high poly count?
In games like Death Bank, Subway Surfers, and more. I created a lit shader graph named World Bending. It has two properties, a texture and a vector 1. The amount vector 1 expects tiny numbers, so I set it to a slider between 0.005 and 0.1. For the material, I use only an albedo texture, but feel free to add any map you desire. To kick things off, we need to calculate the distance from the vertex to the camera.
So this is
the y-axis, so we split it. To achieve the carved look, we multiply the curvature amount by an exponent of the distance. We can now add our shifted y position to the vertex world position. Since the vertex shader expects an object space position, we convert the position into object space. Now all that remains to do is to connect the new position into the vertex position of the master node. The fundamental shader graph is now ready. Let's see our shader in action. An advantage of the world bending effect is that it allows us to present only a fraction of the world at any given moment. At the same time, we aren't actually limited to the surface area of a cylinder or a sphere, so we can create infinite large worlds. Now that the foundation is intact, we can move on to creating the zooming behavior, fix glitches, and more. But before that, let's make our scene more delightful by adding some rendering effects. I added a moderate amount of fog by going to Window, Rendering, Lighting, Effects. In this window, I ticked fog and set the appropriate distances.
So I need
to calculate the distance from the vertex to the camera.
This is complicated in terms of so from what I understand, it's like a lot of the other visual scripting and visual development stuff, and it's basically isolate things as inputs and outputs, and you can have these boxes that are functions that are functions especially useful for shaders. I'm not sure of the limitations of this. It's again, I'm trying to learn about shader graphs, so maybe it's a learning process for all of us here, even if you're completely new to game development. Don't worry, you don't know more than me.
So I set it to a slider between 0.005 and 0.1. For the material, I use only an albedo texture, but feel free to add any map you desire. To kick things off, we need to calculate the distance from the vertex to the camera.
Albedo?
For the material, I use only an albedo texture, but feel free to add
I use only, so he's got a tiling and offset group right here on, that's what this is right here. and then he's got a sample texture 2D in the middle, and then he's got a PBR master on the far right. PBR master, let's go ahead and Google that. PBR master node, yeah, they call them nodes, which I think is typical for visual scripting. A master node for physically based rendering can be used in either metallic or specular workflow modes as defined by the workflow drop-down parameter. Either in metallic or specular workflow modes as defined by the workflow drop-down parameter. I don't know what the drop-down parameter is, but the workflow. So is that? I'll open a shader graph on here so I can go ahead and look alongside what he's doing with yeah. So how do we do that? World bending. So he's got a window tab open here that looks like. So if I go to window, rendering. No. Shaders. Shaders would not be under rendering, I guess. Visual scripting. UI toolkit. Nope. AI analysis, sequencing, audio, animation, rendering. General. So let's make sure I don't lose sight of chat over here. It's popping off, I know it, but I gotta get used to keeping it right on the corner of my eyes and always looking at it. We've got packages, shaders. Okay, here we go. We got some different file types here. We've got shader subgraphs, and these are all subgraphs. Oh no, graphs and subgraphs. So I'm not sure. It looks like that the subgraph maybe takes the output of another so to isolate larger logic sets maybe. I'm not entirely positive, but here we are. Let's open a graph and see what we're looking at here. So this is Bending Barrel or Planet, the name of this. And it does not look like bending barrel, bending master, bending particles, bending water, bending subgraph, master, bending master. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, I definitely. Chalfie mentioned that he would maybe walk me through a lot of this, so I certainly hope he does carry through with that. I don't know at all what's going on, or you can just handle this and. But I think I need a basic understanding of it in order to develop on top of it effectively. So hopefully we can figure this out a little bit. Transform deprecated. Add. This looks like it does not look like it has the same stuff that he has in his. So this is most likely maybe a different tutorial. Tutorial info. That's probably a good directory to take a look at. We got scripts. Edit. Nope, that's layout. Nope. Textures. Project settings. Not gonna be in there. There's no README in here either. Demi Giant. Meshes. You know, maybe the first thing I should have done. Look here. These are the. Yeah, that is definitely the same. Okay, let me close these though. Close tab. Discard that. Each of these is like its own little window. So, and then we can go scene. Let's go ahead and hit play and see what happens when we hit play. Because maybe he has this tutorial in here, but he's not using it at all. So yeah, well he is doing this with a shader graph somehow. Man, this is okay. Then we got little red little red bricks we can make. Can we stack them? No, we can just draw some pictures. Ba 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 ba. That's cool. A minus sign. Okay, you can't drag and click though. Yeah, this is because this is really rudiment. Okay, and then right clicking puts little buildings down that have like a pump on top of them. So he's got. Does he have? He does have. a functional grid system working. And I've seen this on Twitter actually, so he did tweet this out, and I took a look at it. But yeah, he's got a grid system going that allows you to build. Yeah, that's cool. There's obviously lots of stuff that needs to be worked on, but my hopes are is to make a tool that would allow us to, and that's what he's working on right now too. Actually, now that I mention that, because we're not working on like a management sim or anything like that. We're working on a game that will have an overworld and basic stages and stuff like that, like with following just good design principles and good game development principles to hopefully make a solid finished product. I say that like it would have no soul in it, but we're obviously going to express ourselves creatively to the fullest extent, but also try and make a good game. And there's definitely proven records or proven methods to make that easier to attain. Okay, so what I think he's going on here is that he is using his own stuff, his own. No, I don't think these are. Can I open this script? Edit script. Let's edit script. You guys aren't gonna be able to see this yet, but I'll open up Visual Studios in just a second. And what I will do is let's try some crazy shit. Let's do window capture, and we'll call this Visual Studios capture, just like that. Okay, and we'll shrink this down just for show, just so you know that what I'm doing. Lots of people, if you want to see the code, I'll do a poll later, but if you want to see the code, you're going to have to ask me, because I'm going to just keep it small just so there's context on my screen about what's going on here. And I want to put it in the background, I think. Back behind stuff. And actually, you know what would actually look probably better? Let me do filters. We will do color correction, but what we really want on that is the opacity, and I can turn down the opacity, and I can drag it up to right there. Yeah. That doesn't look too bad. We're filling this out. If it looks like garbage, if people get tired of it, if it's too much visual noise, you know where the door is. No, I'm just kidding. Just tell me, because my goal in this is to also gain knowledge in streaming for whatever project I end up using it for. So I'm in this terrain manager. What I really wanted to take a look at was where it is in the project structure. So that is not all. Collapse all. That's already collapsed. Let's go home. It looks like it does not like Solution Explorer. And I'm also not well versed in Visual Studio, for what it's worth. I do have a bell down here. Is this an update? Yeah, I'll do update on close, just to get that out of here, and then we will take a look here. Sorry, I'm gonna shoot a text over to my wife real quick, which may happen frequently. frequently. Let's see, I think this got budged at some point. Should duct tape that crap, you know? Okay, that's enough of that. Oh, another thing is it's probably incredibly boring. Just this awkward silence going on that would feel better if we had a little bit of music. And the music will be ad hoc because I threw it up last second before the stream started. And I may survey about that as well, but you know, you need people to survey. Otherwise, you'll just be going through the motions, which is not that big of an issue. So I thought that Solution Explorer would be where I can find the directory structure, and you guys can't see it very clearly, but that seems to not be the case. So if I close Solution Explorer, options, no, so window, we can do reset window layout. I've got a kitty cat that wants to dance around my keyboard right now. This is not what I'm looking for. Let's see, that was him. He'll be on in there in a little bit, but he's got stuff he's trying to take care of for his personal stuff, so. As is the case for a lot of us most of the time. Cat trying to sit on my cookie. I got a little bit of a cookie left over. And this cat now just ran over like it was excited to see that I put the cookie over there. Something itch. No, that's not your cookie. What are you doing? Why are you just going directly to this cat? Is got I picked up a book that was over here and put it over here and I ran straight to it too. I think maybe she thinks that she's gonna get food, even though it's 3:30 and the cat doesn't get fed for a few more hours. Yeah, this isn't gonna work out. So he's not gonna hop in. So yeah, we're gonna be working through this slowly. Visual Studios directory view. It seems like it's in the wrong directory. So maybe in my packages, package manager. Damn it, that's not what I wanted to do. Package manager. And put it over on this screen. Let me put it down here. What are we looking for here? We're looking for Visual Studio Code Editor. Yeah. Currently installed. Currently installed. So it should be operating properly. Yeah, it's got like the packages and stuff usable, and it's 85 different files. Yeah, it's the packages, not the actual. Here we go. It's under UnityEngine.ui. Okay. packages, and I just want to right-click terrain. It's under assets. That's all I wanted to learn. Oh, the base directory. Yeah, something that bugs me, so we're gonna go ahead and take care of that and then push it to GitHub just to take care of it, get it out of the way. So I want to recreate. Oh, fix the project structure. My left shoulder is sore today and yesterday. I don't recall doing anything to it, so maybe the way I slept. Good stretch. Okay, now let's label this directory scripts, and I'm just gonna go ahead and drag all these over to it. Oh, here's a README. Oh, it's about URP. Let's go ahead and do a real quick test, see if everything runs properly still after moving those scripts. Yeah, that is correct. It works, so nothing to worry about there. This is a terrain data. What is terrain data? So I'm assuming if I go and create, that will be an out-of-the-box thing, right? No, I don't see it. It's an asset. Okay, so terrain data is actually a big flat plane with a mountain on it. I dragged that out, and I don't think it's used anywhere is the deal. Let me double check that. No, it wouldn't be in the camera controller. Yeah, it is not. So let me go ahead and remove that. I'm not sure why it's in the assets, but it's probably part of that tutorial. And then there's a skybox, which looks like is not being used either. So what I don't know is if he created this project from something he pulled off GitHub. That looks like what's going on here with the tutorial subdirectory, and that may be why he kept it separate. But we got examples here. To not save that, so I screwed up. Yes, that is where we are. Is underscore example scene, and I don't remember what underscores are used for in C#, but yeah. So that means there's things being used in the scene that aren't down here in the okay, so he's got it in terrain gen. I don't know. He must have made that in Blender. Cube 1, cube, rotate around. Is this animation? Clip, yeah. Interesting. Take a look at that. Directional light. So this is probably your speed, so if we put this to 500. some visual bugs that we're gonna have to work on for sure when you shift directions. This is unfortunate. I've got an error when I haven't even done anything yet. But that is development. My wife just sent me a picture of a car. She said this dude is parked on the sidewalk, so fucking inconsiderate. And it's a skeleton for Halloween, I guess. I don't even know if it's really parked on the sidewalk, but if it is, maybe that guy gets away with it just because he puts a skeleton in it. And during Christmas, he puts Santa Claus. Figured did a quick Google search, found out the right link this time. Go to Windows Layouts, revert to factory settings. Window Layouts. I've done this before. But it wasn't revert. I did Tom General Layout. So this is the way I like to edit. Anyway, so let's clear this. See if it does it again. Looks like we got a little visual bug too in there with the shadow. Interesting. But if let me see, if I play full screen, play maximize. See if it, yeah, it has to do with the size of the window is what it seems. So what if I? That's interesting. Oh well. So let's continue. See, I like to have this section over here just in case I need to swap back and forth between things annoyingly. Play focused. And we can come back over here to our project. So grid one. That was under terrain gen. Yeah, so this is this is what it uses to generate. Let's take a look at the actual code. We can figure that out. And I will go ahead and duplicate this. Capture. I'll say copy. Paste. Duplicate. I will go into properties. I will change this to Microsoft Visual Studios. I will change the name to Visual Studios. Capture. Yeah, it's going to give me an issue because I already named this other one that. Let me rename this to transparent at the end of it. And I will rename this to Visual Studios Capture Window. Yeah. If I'm down looking at the keys, you keep me touch typing. I gotta get better at touch typing. It's unacceptable how bad I am at touch typing when I do so much typing for a living. And I can just put it right on top of the Opera window and turn that off when I'm not in the code. Okay, so let's take a look at the scripts, which are under assets, scripts. Let's take a look at that grid script. So what we have is a pretty basic script with one serializable field, or serialized field, to expose it safely to the UI. It's private, set to 1F, one float. What I'm going to do is bump that up a couple. There we go. And we have position equals transfer that. So he's going in the negative direction incrementally. Removing the position from it over and over. So this is on get nearest point on grid is the name of the function. It returns a vector 3, receives a vector 3. Okay. So basically, so we'll start on draw gizmos. So this just draws the gizmos. That makes a whole lot of sense. So grid script in here on grid. Is it on grid placer? Terrain manager? Yes. So no, that's not it. What the name of the grid manager is where it's at. Yeah. So all this does is draw the gizmo. I am gonna make an executive decision and rename this to grid tool manager because actually let me, it's probably just be better to be grid gizmos or grid gizmo manager, and so that we can come in here and understand exactly what's going on. And grid script, I think we should refactor. So let's we could do it. It'd be better to do it in here. Yeah. So generally, you want to do any kind of renaming of stuff through the UI. So where's my scripts? There it is. I have the grid script. Let me rename that. Gizmo Manager Script. And oops, I just opened it, but what we need to do, let's go ahead and name the actual class that on our object so that we don't, you know, it's just good to follow norms, and I don't know if it would necessarily complain, but manager script. See, that's the problem, is I'm gonna have to remember. That just shouldn't be any issue after that. Let's return to Unity and see if I think it's this. Okay, grid script cannot be found. Yeah. Okay, so if I go into Grid Gizmo Manager, Where are we getting that error then? So if I go console, clear, clear, okay. That is what's happening. So namespace of grid script could not be found. So what we're doing here is calling it. So we need to go ahead and save that. This is placer script, and it uses the grid gizmo. So I see. So he wanted to keep the scripts all together for the grid functions. I think that's a smart idea, actually. But is the grid doing anything other than drawing the gizmo right now? No. So I'm gonna go ahead and revert that. Now that I understand it, but we do need to rename this. Yeah. Rename. Boom. Rename again. Grid manager. See, this is we're going to come in here and fix the name. Let's close this and open. Let's refresh this. It's got these two here. Let's do this. Boop. And I will right click, rename. Actually, I think it's only calling it from one place, so let's do that. Grid manager script. And that needs to be down there too. So I wish I had a refactor option in this, but it doesn't seem I do, so that looks good to me. And I don't know what this is going on here. So if I go to the Grid Gizmo Manager, I rename this now to Grid Manager. So yeah, that makes sense because he wants to keep the size and everything together. I would say let's do this. I do want to change size. Is this the right? Is this the right script in here now? Let's see. Yes, it's the right one. So let's remove this one. This does not need to be here. Let me open it up first, make sure I'm not doing something I'm going to delay. Yes. Yes, it can go away. So let's go ahead and delete it. It oddly duplicated itself somehow when we were doing all the renaming stuff. And take a look at that script actually. Okay, so we don't want to call it size. Probably like unit size, like that, and then actually, yeah, we can actually do rename it here to right click, rename, unit size. What do you call it on a graph? the measurement increment. Maybe just scale. Scale might be actually, or just unit of scale. Let's just scale increment size. That's good. I guess hit enter. Scale increment size. There we go. Yep, that makes more sense to me. And that just places them anyways. So if I look at a grid placer, it's using the... See, this is what I don't get. Why is this in its own object? What we can do is we'll just test material is test debug. So let me do this. Let me add placer script. So this will be the gizmo drawer, I think is what I'll call this, because I'm pretty sure that's what it's acting as. It has test debug material and building one. Oh, no. That's not what it's doing. Placer script. Let me take a look at this, because what I thought it was doing on awake, it calls... Oh, it calls the grid manager. Yeah, so, what is it using that for? So let me look at everywhere it's using this. He's doing get. Okay, so he's using it. Yeah, he's using a function in the grid manager. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another object type. Not even an object type, just a different script, and call it grid gizmo manager, like that, right? We'll create and add that, and it'll be up on your screen in a second. You know, I just had, oops. Just had an idea. I think I'm gonna duplicate this scene thing. Paste duplicate and make it Unity. Yeah, properties or yeah, properties. Then we never lose context. What's going on here? You guys know that everything that's going on. So let me go ahead and rename this. Rename. No 2 at the end, please, and it will be called. I didn't mean to. Rename. Unity. Capture. Just parent. I think that'll work out a lot better. So if I forget to swap windows, you guys can still have a little bit of context about what's going on. So it has this function. I think this is a function of the grid manager. I think this is a separate function that I'm gonna go ahead and cut out. and go to my new script. In fact, before I do that, how do I make new scripts in Unity auto in proper directory? Yeah, change default script folder. That's what I'm looking for. Upon creating a new script, I just had to look at the code. After creating a new script, it has a nested class called new script element, which handles the script. Script creation actually draws the edit box for the script name and the drop down for the language selected. It actually has a private variable called directory, which is treated as a partial path or assets. However, it's initialized with an empty string, and there's no code that actually changes that variable. So they might have in mind to provide a way to specify a GUI path for the script should be created, but they never implement any kind of GUI interface to that directory. Reflection saves the day. However, more likely than I thought. The problem is that the add component window is recreated each time it's open. Also, its internal tree of elements, which contains a new script element instead, it's also recreated each time the window is open. Since it's a drop-down window, you can't click anywhere outside the window, so you would lose the window. So the only solution is actually pull if the window is currently open, and so we inject a desired path. I've just written an editor script that says that. Of course, the script has to be. Oh god, that's way too complicated for now, so let's go back to what we were doing. And you guys didn't have any context to that because it was over here, but yeah, it is what it is. Let's go back to what we were doing. Okay, so I cut that out of there, and I'm gonna place it in to the Grid Gizmo Manager. As its own. Boom. See, and get nearest point on grid should be calling our grid manager. So what I can do is go over to the placer script and copy this instantiation. Copy, paste it, just to save myself a little bit of typing time. Could have done it myself, and then really thinking about this now. There's better ways to handle this, but this is how I'll do it for now. It's just odd to have a reference to. It should be the manager that has references to the other ones and calls their functions and passes in itself. I think that would be the best way to do it, but we'll do that later. So scale increment size actually will be from the grid script. Boom. And I bet you he made that private, so that's another reason why. Boom. Scale increment size, yeah, is private. So for now, I'll change this to public, just because it's not necessary for it to be private, and it saves us a headache. And so this should still draw the grid. Okay, so what I did was gizmos.drawsphere point. What is it in? Null reference. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. On draw gizmos. What? What's the line number it's got on it here? 21. Yeah, it's the get nearest point on grid. I'm calling it. So variable point. I'm defining it here. And if I go to here, checking position. Why would this not work? That's interesting. Because awake happens too late, obviously. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and remove the awake function for now. Let me clear this. Let's make sure that nothing new is coming up. Yeah, so now it works. Works pretty well. Yeah, so in the grid manager, I think since it's a manager, it really should just be that it calls functions on the subscripts and passes itself to those things. So if I want to refactor that, so I can go over to the placer script and remove this. Let's think about this for a second. Because that will make it asynchronous, I think, or it is asynchronous now, and that would make it synchronous. So maybe that's not the best solution, but we should have a grid handler script that is called on awake that. No, I mean, if we're gonna do that, we might as well. So let's think about this. Because right now we're just gathering the same instance of grid manager as others. It's a waste of computational power. Doing the get promote. But on Gizmo Draw won't work for this if we do that. I'm just really thinking now how I'd want to do this. Maybe there's nothing wrong with the way it's done. I'm overthinking it. So, yeah, I prefer that though. I much prefer this. But it's probably got some kind of caching built in for the on Gizmo Draw to not re-pull an object if nothing's changed about it. So. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Place a script. Get mouse and button down. Get mouse button down. Place item near. So get component material. Place item. Click point. Transparent. Transform parent. So So he does an array cast hit. Oh, so he gets mass button 0, and he does something different. Forget mass button down 1. He does do a array cast hit the same, and then he gets final position. He uses get nearest point on grid to find the nearest point. That's so interesting. Get nearest point on grid. So it's probably drawing it so the end one will pop back to the first one on the grid. And we'll never have to worry about that though, because it's stationary. So if we hit play, yeah, you can see that we're building on this grid. And it seems the grid just continues to build infinitely. So what's the max size of this, I wonder? Well, it seems that I have made it to the edge, so because the shader is screwed up. I wonder if that's because the shader's trying to do it up here instead of here. So like if I hit so if I honestly just add a new, let's see if what it is when I have 3. It probably is just as bad. Interesting. So it's projecting the model down. Why does it suddenly have this pink though? Let's see. Let me look at the console. Did that break something? Let's go unpause or pause, and we'll go to play maximize. See if it makes that pink box. It does. What am I doing wrong here now? The shader graph has to be using it. So crap. Let's go to I don't know where he has the shader graph stuff. It's got controller script on it. I'm going to go get a glass of water and use the restroom, but I'll be right back. hello. Let's get back into this. One thing I think I need to take care of something really quick. Gosh. I want to say that I'm trying to log into something, and I want to say that I'm sure they have some stupid rule on the password that I can't remember. I don't want to do that. I don't want to. This is. Send me a code. Text message, please. I agree. Maybe. How many clicks I got do? Now I understand. Two-factor authentication. Support. It's just the crap where you can't save your login credentials. Sometimes some websites create password. Yeah, look, let me see. Cannot use special characters. This is stupid. Okay, I got that all figured out. There's a cat here that wants to say hello. You want to say hello, cat? I got the microphone here. No. No hello. No hello. No hello from the cat. Just wants to sit right smack dab. Right smack dab in front of me. Oh, now it's moving. It's gonna get sit on my mouse pad now, so that's a little better. Okay, let's get back into what we were doing. Let's get back to what we were doing. I really need to learn the shader stuff, and that's why it's so important to just set stuff up properly instead of just going at it like this. I don't know where it is. Terrain gen, no. I got materials, building test, no. Main camera, no. 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 Oh, there's boost speed. And there's a boost speed. I'll have to take a look at that, figure out how to do that. Bending amount. Bending manager. Bending manager. Let me take a look at the bending manager script. Scripts bending manager. Bending manager. It's not in this because it's gonna be drilled down in here probably. Assets. Watch. Yes, here it is. Right where it's supposed to be, right? Okay, so let's move it up in here. Scripts. And let's see if everything still works now that I moved that. You hold shift in it. So look. Yeah. So that is an issue that needs to be figured out. I thought that okay, so I screwed something up because it was not having this issue before. What is it that I may have screwed up? Because I was just doing this. Oh, I got in loose studio mode. Sorry about that. I was just doing this. Issue I've got right now is for some reason it has stopped rendering the rest of the bent plane. So let me take a look at the bending manager. We got constants, inspector, fields, model behavior methods. It's update bending amount. So yeah, I'm using a shader that is constant, maybe. No. Where's shader come from? So shader is a global variable or an object. Shader is an object. So if I go in here, back down to that, yeah, down to here. Shaders, right here. So there's got to be something running this. So let me. Best way to learn something is to break it, which is what I did. And that's my goal really in this, is to really understand it, so. No. Not build settings, project settings. File. Project settings. Okay. This does nothing. It's channel settings. Let's look up the shader object.
Any map you desire.
Okay. So here we go. I got some information about it. We have to define a shader object in Shader Lab, use a shader block. The page contains information on using shader blocks. Information on how a shader object works and the relation between shader objects, subshaders, and passes. See shader objects introduced. Okay, in Unity, when you work with shaders that are part of the graphics pipeline, you usually work with instances of the shader class. An instance of the shader class is called a shader object. A shader object is a Unity-specific way of working with shader programs. It is a wrapper for shader programs and other information. It lets you define multiple shader programs in the same file and tell Unity how to use them. Okay, let me read that out loud again. A shader object is a Unity-specific way of working with shader programs. It is a wrapper for shader programs and other information. It lets you define multiple shader programs in the same file and tell Unity how to use them. Okay. That makes sense. Shader object contains shader programs instructions for changing settings on the GPU, collectively called the render state, and information that tells Unity how to use them. You use shader objects with materials to determine the appearance of your scene. You can create shader objects in two ways. Each has its own type of asset. You can write code to create a shader asset, which is a text file with a .shader extension. You can use shader graph to create a shader graph asset. Whichever way you create your shader object, Unity represents the results in the same way internally. So how it's got to be in the namespace, right? I feel like it's got to be in the namespace. Yeah, let me see. Class Unity engine. It's part of the Unity engine, so I just called shader. And it, property to ID, bending amount. Let's look up property to ID. What's the purpose of that? I'd imagine it would just change. Shoot. Oh, it's optimization stuff. Okay. Hello, cat again. It's 4:30. I'm not getting you food at 4:30. Sorry. Sorry if that's your goal. I'm gonna have to kick you out, cat. What are you doing? Just laying on my notebook now. There are many different ways to optimize code. There are reasons for performing problems in general. Unity does not use string names to address animator, material, and shader properties internally. For speed, all property names are hashed into property ID. Okay, that makes sense. It's a hash, and it is these IDs that are usually used to address the properties. Therefore, whenever you're using a set or get method on an animator, material, or a shader, use the integer valued method instead of the string valued method. String method simply performs string hashing and then forward the hashed ID to the integer valued mentioned methods. Okay, so all that's happened with this is optimization stuff. It's turning read only int a bending amount from. Okay, so yeah, it's hashing it to optimize better. It's a bending amount, and then thing is though. So okay, yeah, that's why it's using the. Okay. Starting to make sense now. Okay, so on awake. The application is playing. You need to enable keyword bending feature. So let's look up enable keyword. In the you can enable or disable shader keywords. When you enable or disable a shader keyword, Unity renders the appropriate shader variant. You can enable or disable shader keywords. When you enable or disable shader keyword, Unity renders the appropriate shader variant. I see. This page contains the following information: local and global shader keys. It uses the concept of local shader keywords and global shader keywords. Local shader keywords comprise all keywords. Individual shader, compute shader, and local keywords can have local or global scope, which affects whether they can be overwritten by global shader keywords. Global shader keywords act as overrides for local shader keywords. You don't declare these in shader source files. They exist only in C# code. Global shader keywords can affect multiple shaders and compute shaders at the same time. Okay. This cat's just hovering for some reason. How local global? I don't need to learn all that. I just want to know if I'm enabling a keyword, bending underscore feature, it needs to be defined somewhere, right? So it's probably being defined in one of these shaders. Barrel or planet, probably, right? Let's take a look here. Oh yeah, it's not. So it's not gonna work anymore for that. Let's copy this. Filters. Let's get going. Yeah. All right. Sorry, I'm organizing stuff in OBS. Should be good now. All right. Okay. So now I need to figure out how to actually get these shader keywords. You know, figured out. I feel like all this needs to be even now. Just being anal. Okay. So where are keywords listed here? Graph inspector, main preview, blackboard, color mode, shown project save blending barrel, and planet amount, texture, planet name. Keyword. So those are two keywords right there. I found them. So this one says bending underscore feature. So bending obviously is, it's gotta be one of these. What? So it's none of these that I can find. It's just bending underscore feature. That doesn't really make sense. Oh, he's enabling them here. I'm an idiot. And then he turns it off when it's not playing. Makes sense. If enable planet. This is all on void, or all on awake. So we got put bending feature as keywords, and then we call update bending amount, which is a method down here that takes previous amount, equals it to bending amount, and then sets the shader to the global float bending amount, Interesting. That was a little weird tempo. What's that? Let's check if that was my computer. Or if Yeah, it is recording. So, on update bending amount, what we do is we take the previous amount equal to bending amount. Or bending amount equal to previous amount equals bend. And I set global float bending underscore amount, which is what was enabled over here, one of them. No, actually. Set global float. Okay, global floats can only be set through the code, so that's a new one as well. Bending amount. If it doesn't exist. Yeah. So we created it here using, okay. So if we're I thought you wouldn't want to do that. Oh, what's a value? I'm not quite sure how that works. So setting the global float bending amount based on bending amount, which also is being defined here as 2ID. I don't know why you want it. So it's the object, so I'm assuming. Yeah, that can't affect it. So that's a read only. What? So it calls this just unadulterated awake. Okay, so it's just really the only purpose of this calling this in the first place is to set the previous amount to the bending amount at start, which bending amount is this at start. Yeah. Okay. And so after that, we're done with being awakened on enable if application is playing. Camera rendering plus on begin camera rendering. The render pipeline managers in camera. Plus equals on begin camera rendering. If you go here, it's really interesting. So it's calling this method here. plus equals. Got a cat falling asleep next to me. So we're doing on begin camera rendering. And she's in this culling matrix thing. So it's creating the projection. That's crazy. Okay. And on update, all it does is take the previous amount minus spinning amount. And if that's greater than, okay, so it's just curving it, right? Math f dot epsilon. I think that's what's happening right now. Okay, it's the smallest point possible above 0. So it's approaching 0 essentially, up and it stops because it can't get to 0. If it's greater than that, yeah, update bending amount, and then, so we'll go to update bending amount, and what the hell? On update, math.abs. So it's a function. It returns the absolute value. Why wouldn't it be 0? What? If I just take previous amount, all previous amount is bending amount. Bending amount will always be, and then it sets bending amount to that. Because on start it. Yeah, right here it just calls it, you know? Calls it, and this isn't anything yet, and this is this. So let's work through it. So it's 0.015 on this update bending amount. So we start and we're like, oh, previous amount is 0.015, and then we should set global float bending amount to 0.015 as well. And then everything's good. We're enabled the camera. And nothing in here about that variable. Nothing in here either. So nothing happens when the camera's enabled. And then we go into the update loop. And it's updating. So we go if math.absolute value of previous amount, which is 0.015 as we just discussed, minus 0.015 as we just discussed. Let's double check that. Yes, that's the value we just set. So it would be immediately true. And now, So to say, yeah, and then we set bending amount to 0.015 again. Why would that matter? It's just setting it as 0.015 every time. Unless there's somewhere programmatically changing the bending amount that I don't see. So there's gotta be something else as well controlling it. It's the bending manager. Yeah, I don't understand how it's really working then. It wouldn't be negative, that value, so. Ever, it would just be 0 always. It means it wouldn't update it. So it only updates it if it changes, is essentially what's happening. I understand now, because you can adjust this through the UI. So, well, basically what that does is... discard all that, please. I could have sworn it's really interesting. It's like doing the opposite. And that grid, that grid's way off. Oh, it's not way off down. No, not at all. It's not way off down here. That's interesting. So I don't understand this. Where is the okay, let's look at the terrain manager script. Instantiate terrain 1. Temp terrain.name equals terrain plus I. Temp terrain. And it adds it to. I don't know. Instantiate terrain. Game object to instantiate. That's me. So it's just creating an object. So, okay, so instantiates one is already setting it to temp terrain, and temp terrain.naming that, and then it puts it in to here. And then the fuck is happening here? It's adding the position equals vector 3.0. Okay, cat. He's taking the fifth one. It's gonna be 9 long always. What is happening? So it sets terrain 4 to 0. Its position is 0. It says, is it really just what? Is it just painting all of them right here? Just yeah, it spits them out, just moves them where they're supposed to go. So if I were to like remove this part like that, it should still run. It's just we'll see stacked up trains on 0. Discard that. No, it seems fine. So I'm not exactly sure what that did. Yeah, let's stop playing focus. Or stop playing like that and let's turn the gizmos off. And go scene here and test it again. No. That seems to not have done what I hoped. Didn't do anything. So it's basically just saying, on awake, all these are 0 plus a new vector, negative TBS. I don't know what terrain manager. TBS equals 50. Negative 50. What is it doing here? Cat, like, if I just... It did nothing. So I don't know what the purpose of that is. So I'm just gonna ignore it. What? This is far too. I cannot read this and understand what's going on. I mean, if we, I mean, it says it's changing its positions because it's doing a raycast hit down. It's doing a raycast hit down. So it's saying physics.raycast at our position at the controller position, which is a camera controller, I'm assuming. Where's the game object even set? That's absurd. Okay, I have no idea what controller is, where it's being set. So controller is a game object that hasn't been instantiated or anything. It's probably being set in here. So if I got terrain manager, controller's camera controller, yeah. So the camera controller's the object. So it shoots down from the camera. And it says all the way to infinity. It doesn't stop. I think it's right. Let me. Yeah, max distance and then hit info. So hit info. It's quad update with that hit object. So the hit object beneath me. Let's see. So is it not hitting? I'm gonna have to take a look at that camera controller too, but it seems like what should be happening now is that these terrains are getting painted, but it looks like gain object, instantiate terrain 1, terrain 1, terrain. You get terrain. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So grid terrain 1 is grid. So what's supposed to happen is the game object terrain 1. This is a bad name convention, but I'm not about to screw with it until I understand it. I have terrain 1 right here. And basically instantiates it. On awake. For all of them. So I've got 9 of them all stacked up together. 10. Sets all of them in there, and then that's where we get to this, where it takes the 5th one, tells it vector 0. See, if I feel like if I just like come in here, do this, the behavior's not gonna change. If I just set this to 4. Let's see. Because it should do an infinite generation. I see how the code's working now, and I don't understand why it's not working. Yeah, so it doesn't behave any different now. So it's effectively like there's no terrain in it at all. So let me. Okay. Oh man. Terrain. TBS. What the hell is TBS? $50? What if I just made it 5? What's gonna happen now? Nothing. I don't know what TBS does either. Well, you set it to 500, so maybe it's overriding it. I see. How many are here? So it is printing them all, and okay, let me stop. Why is it only rendering this? I don't understand. I'm almost tempted to say I screwed up a shader somewhere or something, screwing around with it. But he's still not on. We're going on close to 4 hours. I haven't gotten much done because I don't know what's going on. Well, I think I do know what's going on. I don't know what TBS means, but that's frustrating. That train base stat, train build size, train bullshit. Just put that to 500. Seems like it's not updating. Cause like, let me just go ahead and see. Just pull in a bunch of trains or something. I'm almost positive this is how it's supposed to work. Yeah, you can see. That's an infinite world. So it's not generating the terrain properly. Probably started in the terrain manager. Let me take a look. I don't think I did anything that would cause that. No, because none of this was touched by me. All this is doing is building that grid. Yeah, there's gonna be a better way to do this. I see why he did it the way he did it, but there's gonna be a better way to do this. And use meaningful variables. Yeah, it's supposed to generate infinite terrain because of this, and it's just not. It's just not. It's just refusing to. Oops. It's just refusing to. This is the thing that, so I should just take all these right after it does this and say debug.log. Do a for loop actually, just like this one. So it still thinks it's, what am I? It's got like no model. It's just blank. It's just empty objects. Why are they empty objects? Because I'm instantiating the game object. It's the only one the model is for. Why wouldn't it have a model? I don't get it, because it's... Dang old cat. Did I put a bunch of... I thought I swear. Could have been a cat that did it. I don't know. I don't know what exactly broke this, because it's not My instantiated game object is just empty. Other than 4. Other than 4. That doesn't make any sense. Why would 4 not be empty, but all the other ones would be? Yeah, all those are 0, so that wouldn't be it. I understand this now. Why won't it generate any? So what if I change this to, let's just change this to 0? How about that for a second? Change this to 4. Just curious. If I do that, and I hit play. Now, if I look at 4, it's blank. But if I look at 0, it's blank too. So what even is... What? Oh yes, it is this one. So I guess everything's been shifted. Well, I can't figure it out. Here's one thing I'll do. I'm gonna save this. I'm going to Make a new branch. Let's close this real quick. I have to add the ignore. He needs to start adding that before he pushes, but trying to switch right now. But what I was saying was, I've got 14,182 changed files in my directory because I'm running this Unity file on a different system. And once you open it, if you don't have a proper README, it's gonna overwrite a whole bunch of junk, which is what it did. And it's a bunch of wasted time to push that because it's meaningless and it's gonna be overwritten anyways on the other machine. Makes your pulls take longer too for the base process, especially if you committed without that ignore at first. It'll cause issues. Yeah, so here it is. Let me hit play. It should run properly. It wasn't until after I adjusted it. So the render pipeline has to be doing something that I don't know, and I can't make sense of that. So hopefully next time I'll be able to make sense of that, or hopefully I'll have made sense of that before the next. Let me duplicate this. Transform. Okay. It's solid. Oh, actually, I started at 3:30. So no, I started at 3, so it's been 2.5 hours, but I'm not making much progress without understanding the render pipeline stuff. So I think you know, hopefully I'll gain more endurance in streaming longer, but right now you know, I can already tell my voice is getting a little tired and my brain's hurting a little bit. So I hope next episode will be a little bit more progress than this one. It was a lot of learning. I'll learn a little bit more off stream, talk to Chalfie about it, and figure out exactly where to go with what I'm doing. I really need to be able to make sense of the render pipeline stuff. Like I said, but now I'm just repeating myself. So let me duplicate. Goodbye, splash. And copy, paste, duplicate. So yeah, a lot of work that really sapped my energy today was setting up the whole stream and everything, and getting it ready to go. But now that all that's done, I should be able to get on stream game dev and then get off hopefully, and not have all that headache. Properties. There we go. And this needs to be centered. Almost. Good enough. All right. Thanks for watching. I'm just going to let the music play a little bit. And be sure to follow us on Twitter. Follow us. I don't know why I said it like that. Follow us on Twitter, where we post clips and updates about various projects that may not make it onto the stream. I'm also planning on doing monthly game dev logs, so hopefully I'll have those on the channel soon. Subscribe if you want, if they're interested in that sort of thing. And I hope to talk with a couple of people next stream about game dev and learn a little bit more. So thanks for hanging out, if you did hang out. Bye bye.